Well, hello and welcome. So, have you ever tried adding a view to your ASP.NET MVC project and you saw this option, use a layout page, and you don't know what it means? Well, this tutorial is going to give you a clear understanding of what a layout page is. So, what is a layout page? So a layout page is simply a page set aside to host or hold the fixed part of a web page or web pages, particularly web pages. So the three highlighted or three things we need to take note of. First is simply a page, so it's actually a web page. In the design sense, it's a page on its own, or it's a view on its own that is set aside to hold or host the fixed parts of a number of web pages. So we could have a number of web pages that we're designing for our website, and each of those pages has a fixed path that's similar in all of them. So let's take this example. So we have this website, it's a template from bootstrapmade.com, and if you can look on top here, this is their navigation bar. Here's their logo and their menu items and their get started button, and at the end we are the home page, and at the down part they have their footer, and yeah, all this from here downwards. And if you go to all the other pages, the about page, we still have the same navigation bar, same footer down here. If you go to the services page, same navigation bar at the top, and same footer at the bottom. Same with the portfolio, same with the pricing, same with the blog, and same with the contact page. They all have the same navigation bar and the same footer. So could you imagine, as a designer, you have about, let's say, this about 7 pages, and each of them in your view design has a navigation bar at the top and the footer, and then in each of those 7 pages they have their individual nav bars and their individual footers. Now, what are the disadvantages of having it in such design? The disadvantage is that, one, you'd spend more time designing each of those pages, and as a designer you have to create your work to save more time. You have to plan your project to save more time. And the second is you also have to think ahead and make your project to have the separation of concern sense. So what using layouts helps you do is that you take, for example, if you have a client which you've designed this website for, and at the top you have all these menu items, and you've designed it for the 7 pages, and then your client says, look, I don't want a blog here anymore, just take it out. So the implication is, if you design the navigation bar for each of the 7 pages, you have to go into each of them and begin to delete this blog list from your navigation bar. And of course there's always a tendency that you will miss out on one page, and of course it's always difficult to keep making changes on each of those pages. So what does the layout page help you do? It helps you to have a particular page you set aside for those fixed parts of each of the web pages. So I showed you in each of the web pages the homepage, the about, the services, the portfolio, the pricing, the blog, and the contact all have similar navigation bars, same content, similar footer, same content. So using the layout helps you to have a page set aside for those fixed parts of your web pages, and then you have your web pages sandwiched into that particular layout page. So how do you have, or how do you build a layout page, and in what sense can we apply it? So in this example, usually if you've not created a layout page and you're trying to and you select this, use the layout. Once you select the ad, what it's going to do is that, of course, you have, if it works when you're connected to the internet. So when you select this ad, it's going to scaffold layout page for you with some bootstrap features. It's going to download the bootstrap features into your project, and it's going to create a layout page for you. But we are not going to go through that route. We're going to create a layout page ourselves. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to go over to my controller, to my views, and I'm going to right click on my home controller, and I'm going to add MVC5 layout page. MVC5 layout page. So it has to be a layout page. So you give it whatever name you want. I'm going to give it home layouts. Alright, so this is the basic structure of a layout page. Two key things that you should not throw away is the view bag, the title, and the render body. If you take this away, then this is just a regular page, and of course you can't even load this on its own. So what does the view bag, the title do? Of course, because we're going to be sandwiching different pages to the layout page, this is going to hold the title for each of those pages. Now the next is the render body, and this is going to hold the contents of each of those pages. So whenever, say we have the index page linked to this layout, every other thing is set up, and the content in our index page is going to be inside this render body. So let's say we have we're going to use the example of this template to see how it works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to of course right click, view page source, and I'm going to copy everything here, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and I'm going to replace everything here with what we just copied from that template. And of course I don't just want everything here, and then let's not forget to add the assets folder from this template. So I'm going to add the assets folder to this project. I copy the folder, paste it in my project. Alright, so I have the assets folder, so it's going to make some sense. Now remember, because we copied the template, we have to go back here to use at view bag the title, and if you I have a video, I'm going to put the link down below on how to set up ASP.NET MVC with website templates. So that's going to have a little more explanation of what I'm doing here. Okay, to the end, going to have this. Just to make sure that the path to this assets folder is easily found. So okay, we've changed the title back to view back the title. Next we have to empty of course what's the purpose of the layout. So usually in the layout, the fixed part, remember we said that the layout page is simply a page set aside to host the fixed path. So what are the fixed parts of our web page? So from our sample parts, the navigation bar and the footer, that's what's the same in each of those pages. So in that your layout page, that's where you're going to have the fixed path of each of your web page. So usually the navigation bar and the footer, that's the header and the footer usually, unless you're having a different or a special case. But what's general about it is that fixed path, that path that you want to be the same in every of your pages. Those are the paths that you're going to add to your layout page. So of course I'm going to leave my header, and my main is going to go out here. Going to delete it, and of course I'm going to have a div here, and this is where we restore back the render body, and inside the render body is where everything concerning every page that is sandwiched into this layout would be displayed. So this is an example of a layout page. We have the header, we have the footer, and of course the JavaScript files here, and the every other tag within the head here. Okay, so I go back to my controller, I go ahead and right click and add a view. So when use the layout is checked, I go to my browse button and I search for where I created my layout, and it's in my home folder in my views. So I select the home layout and I add it, and when I add, it's going to scaffold the index page with the home layout page in view. So you see that the index page doesn't have the doc type, the HTML, the head, the body tags, because it's assumed that this whole page is represented in render body. So there's no need to have the doc type. So this whole render body is the index page here. And if you have another layout, this whole render body would be the content in the other page. So I copied out the content which is supposed to be in the home page for our template. So I'm going to paste it here. So I paste it here, go up to the top. Yes, so this is my view back the title. So whenever I run the index page, the title is going to be index. I could just make a little change. So this is sailor index. So when I run this, you see it's going to have navigation bar on top and same at the bottom, and we're going to see how it looks like having another page and making a change, and see how it saves you some time. So let's view this page quickly. View in the browser. Alright, this is what the index page looks like. So we have the navigation bar and the footer down here, and this are coming from the layout page. They're not part of this. So how do we know that? I'm just going to simply add another page. So if I go to my home controller, let me add another view. Let's say services, and I select add view, and I leave this checked, and I confirm that this is the layout that I want to use in this project. Then I add. So we see that the services just looks just like the index page before. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to view this like this. Let me make this give it a little style, align it to the center. Yeah, okay, I think that's okay. So we're going to add a div to this, so we can make it look a little more obvious. And then we give it a height of say 400 pixel, and we give it a padding top, say 100 pixel, so we can see the content inside. So when we view this in our page, let's see how it looks like. So this is what the services page looks like. So as you can see at the top here, we have the navigation bar and the footer, which happens to be the same thing with what we have in our index page. And so in your layout page, you want to have those fixed parts for your project. So it's usually the navigation bar on the footer, unless we're having something different. So you want to have your navigation bar or your header, then your render body, which would be the content from each of these pages. Like we have the services page. If we go back to the home page, go back to the index page, see we still have the same navigation bar and the same footer. So if your client says, okay, I don't want to have our newsletter here anymore, so instead of you to go changing it in each of those pages, you just go ahead to your layout page and take away our newsletter, and that is going to affect the change. The change is going to be in both the home page and the service page and every other page that's linked to the layout page. So let's remove our newsletter and let's see how it looks like. So we go over to our home layout and reach down to the footer where we have our newsletter. Where is it? Okay, so there it is. So we take away everything about this, delete it, save, and can go ahead and refresh this. So we are in our index page and we see there's no newsletter here anymore. And if we go ahead to the services view, you discover there's no newsletter here anymore. So you don't go changing the information in each page. When you go, all you need to do is to change it in your layout page, and it affects every single page that you linked it to. So a little recap of what we said here. We said that the layout page is a web page that is set aside to host or hold the fixed parts of a number of web pages. So if you have a website that has different web pages, and you're sure that each of those web pages has a fixed part, which is usually the navigation bar and the footer, then you have a page set aside for that, so that every other content would be sandwiched in between the header and the footer of the layout page, and they keep changing for each of the pages. So this will make your work faster, and it would save you the stress of other corrections when the work begins to get complex. So if this video was helpful to you, don't forget to click the like button and to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the videos relating to ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET and ASP Core, and the C# language. So thank you very much, and see you again next time.